Greetings, air gunners of the world, and welcome to Precision Pellets Pest Management Channel. Wallabies are an introduced pest in New Zealand. You might ask yourself, what exactly is a wallaby? Wallabies are mammals, marsupials to be specific, and they are indigenous to Australia. They look like mini kangaroos. They are herbivorous and are classed as mixed feeders, meaning they both graze on grass and browse on leaves, new shoots and seedlings. In other words, they'll eat anything green up to their head height. There were 5 species of wallabies that were introduced from Australia into New Zealand in the late 1800s. 3 of those species managed to establish themselves in New Zealand, and with no natural predators in New Zealand, their numbers have grown and grown until they are now considered to be a major agricultural pest and a serious threat to the biodiversity of New Zealand's natural forests and grasslands. Manakai Whenu Land Care Research and the Ministry for Primary Industries predict that if nothing is done, over the next 40 years, wallaby infestations could spread to more than 1/3 of New Zealand and cost the country as much as $84 million a year. In the North Island, the brown area is their current distribution. The yellow is their predicted spread over the next 40 years. As a conservationist and pest controller, I feel I should learn more about these cute little biodiversity destroyers and see if there's a small part I could play in helping to control them. So I decided to plan an overnight scouting trip to the beautiful forested reserves surrounding Lake Tarawera, the stronghold of Dama and Palmer wallabies. The boat's hooked up to the truck, ready to go in the morning. That's Mount Tarawera in the distance, and this is the beautiful Lake Tarawera. I met my mate at the slipway, and we set off from there. Our little wallaby trip. Did I mention this lake is ridiculously deep? At 82 meters deep, it fills the caldera of a massive volcano. That's Mount Tarawera. It's actually a volcano, which last blew up only 139 years ago. It was New Zealand's deadliest volcanic eruption. I hope it doesn't start any rumblings over the next 48 hours. There's a path up ahead there. As we'll be on Department of Conservation land, otherwise known as DOC land, we need to abide by their rules as far as camping and hunting goes. We need to camp in designated areas, and we need to get hunting permits before we can hunt on DOC land. The minimum caliber allowed for hunting on DOC land is a 222 centerfire, so no 22 Hornets, no rimfires, and no air rifles. Because Dama and Palmer wallabies are usually smaller than 6 kgs, we applied for special permits that allowed us to use 22 rimfires on this specific reserve. Air rifles would be the perfect choice for quietness and accuracy, and would still have more than enough foot-pounds of energy to cleanly dispatch a pest this size, but DOC won't allow air rifles onto public land. After setting up camp, we took the rifles and went for a walk. Because wallabies are nocturnal, I wasn't expecting to see any, but you never know, we might just get lucky. We found signs of wallabies, scat and feeding areas. We also found lots of possum scat, hinting at a very high population of possums here. After climbing up away from the lake for an hour or so, we found a flattish area on the top of a saddle and stopped for a break. There was a lot of wallaby scat and signs here, and you can see how they've eaten through the undergrowth, creating these bare open areas. This photo from Biosecurity in New Zealand clearly shows the effect that wallaby grazing and browsing has on the understory. This is an exclusion site. The fence keeps the wallabies out of the area on the right. On the left, they've eaten everything right up to the fence. This awesome little bird is a tomtit, a forest-dwelling species that was totally unafraid of us and went about looking for insects all around us. The forests were surprisingly quiet, with hardly any bird songs. I couldn't help wonder if it was because of the loss of undergrowth and the loss of biodiversity because of introduced species like wallabies and possums. A slow walk back to camp yielded no further wallabies, just the ever-present cicada's love song. Back at the camp, we spent the afternoon relaxing and planning where we could go for an evening scout, and hopefully bump into a wallaby that was just getting started for the night. There's a composting toilet at the campsite, and the view from it is not that bad. At night, this bank was full of tiny little blue glowworm lights. It was beautiful to see. There are 2 notices up on the wall inside the toilet. Both are there to inform anyone passing through the camp of the damage that wallabies are doing to the forests. This is one of the beautiful cicadas that you can hear constantly all day long. Some people don't like a cicada's song. To me, it's a beautiful reminder that it's summer, the weather's good, I'm out of town, and I'm out in the bush. For our late afternoon hunt, we tried an area along the lakeside. We found a lot of possum signs and a lot of small game paths winding through the ferns, mosses, and fallen branches, but no signs of wallabies. Our night in camp was very peaceful, with just the lapping of the water and the calls of rurus, which is New Zealand's only native species of owl. Oh, and of course the growls and shrieks of possums. I had my thermal handheld with me and filmed this possum on the edge of our camp. There must have been at least 6 possums that I heard in and around the camp during the night. The next morning, after a cup of coffee and some breakfast, we broke camp, packed the boat, and went to try our luck in a different area of the lake. I was always taught to leave a campsite better than the way you found it. So we picked up a bag's worth of rubbish, broken glass bottles, and plastic packets from under the bushes around the campsite. What's wrong with people? I'm constantly amazed by the incredible variety of lichens, bryophytes, and ferns that New Zealand has on display. And some unusual trees too. The green spiky leaves are from a seedling rewa, and the plant with the thin black leaves with the orange stripe and green dots is a seedling lancewood tree. Wallabies haven't found these 2 yet. The bush is very thick with a carpet of dry leaves. Even if you move slowly, it's almost impossible to be quiet. We covered a few kilometers of really beautiful areas, but still did not see a wallaby. At around lunchtime, we went across to the far end of the lake, where the Tarawera River begins its life as the outlet of the lake. So this is a trout spawning sanctuary. the outlet from Lake Tarawera. So no fishing here. A lot of crystal clear water. The river's probably at least 2 meters deep, crystal clear. And that's the lake out there. The natural forests and public land in the Rotorua Lakes area is truly beautiful, but it is infested with possums and wallabies, which are destroying the native forests, eating the understory, demolishing seedlings and saplings, and leaving the forest species no chance of regeneration. There are no new young trees coming through to replace the old trees when they eventually die, because no seedlings can grow taller than the height of a wallaby. They just eat everything. Both possums and wallabies are nocturnal, so to have any chance at effectively culling them, you'll need to be out at night using thermal and infrared. And because of their small size, air rifles are the perfect choice. However, DOC does not allow the use of thermal or infrared rifle scopes. They do allow the use of thermal handheld devices, but no thermal attached to a rifle. And they also don't allow any hunting at night, not even for culling purposes. So the only way to be able to shoot wallabies at night using thermal and infrared is going to be by doing it on private land. And if I'm on private land with the landowner's permission, I can use air rifles too. So that will be our next mission, to find some private landowners in this area who have wallaby problems and who need some help controlling them. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you in the next one.